I'm going to ask our the zoning plans examiner from the city of Cincinnati if you can hear me okay. I've been having some technical difficulties this morning with my microphone.
Sounds good, David.
Sounds good. Okay. Um, great. So I'm going to go ahead and get everyone checked in. As I call your name, if you could just unmute and let me know if your name on the screen is correct, and if so, who you're representing here today, or how you're connected to the project, whether you're a member of the applicant or the ownership team or someone else connected to the application, or a neighboring property owner or someone else from the community. So I'll start with Sydney Nation. Ms. Nation.
Yeah, my name is actually Sydney Priggy. This is my maiden name. I am the executive director for Camp Washington Urban Revitalization Corporation. I am here to speak on behalf of the Community Development Corporation, the Business Association, and the Community Council.
Okay, great. And by which surname would you prefer to be called for the record? And if the other one, could you tell me how to spell it?
Priggy, Prigge. And I want to make a correction. I am not speaking on behalf of the Business Association. Spencer is here.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
As I've already mentioned, Matthew Lashide is from the City Zoning Department. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, good morning, David. Hey, everybody.
All right. And then Spencer Deutsch, is that right? If you could unmute.
Yes, that's correct. My name is Spencer Deutsch. I'm a business owner very close to the proposed site. I'm on the board for the Business Association, and I'm just a active community member on top of that. So a few different layers, but all of them passionate about Camp Washington.
Okay.
Oh, do we need to submit our statements in writing anywhere?
Yes. I mean, well, so yes and no. You're able to submit any statements in writing that you would like, but would those be separate from what was submitted by the Camp Washington Urban Revitalization Corporation?
I wrote a little something just stating my opposition of it.
Yes. Yeah.
As a
If you could
local business owner.
Sure. Yeah. If you could send that to me now, that'd be great.
Mhm.
Or if you'd like to just read it into the record and then send it to me directly after the hearing, that's also
That
fine.
sounds more doable because then I'm too ADD to be doing both those things at the same time. I'd not be hearing what everybody else is saying, and I feel like that's more important in this situation.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, if you could just get that queued up and ready to read into the record so that we can make sure it gets into the record. All right. And then we also have Sean Donovan here. Mr. Donovan, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good morning. And I represent the property owner, BEE Holdings, the applicant. And I submitted the application, and I'm here to discuss that.
Okay, great. Are you an attorney by any chance?
I am not.
Okay, great. Just checking the rules of procedure are a little bit different for attorneys, so I just wanted to make sure. Great. Okay, Mr. Donovan, on the applicant owner side, are we expecting anyone else to join us here today, or are you ready to proceed?
I'm ready to proceed.
Okay, I just need to do one more thing and then we'll get into it. So I need to read through our hearing script. This will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll get started. So this is the April 17th, 2024 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. I'm the Zoning Hearing Examiner for the city. The case before us today is case number ZH20240031. That's 2728 Spring Grove Avenue. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the Zoning Hearing Examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. I'll then move to members of the public to speak after the applicant has presented its case. I'll hear from the zoning department from the city, and Mr. Lashad to provide any testimony in addition to a staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond or to rebut that testimony that was offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude Any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered, I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly. But to the extent there is some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay. Last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So I'm going to do that now collectively for everyone that intends on testifying. So if that's you, if you could make sure that you are off mute, if you could raise your right hand. I'll need everyone to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
I do, yeah.
And Mr. Donovan, if you could just unmute.
Yes.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. All right. Mr. Donovan, are you ready to go forward?
I am.
Okay, the floor is yours.
As directed by the city building department zoning, we submitted an application for a temporary zone change to accommodate storage of trailers on that site. That site was originally Pride Cast Metals that was went into receivership, was purchased by BEE Holdings. They demolished it. They cleaned the site up, environmentally cleaned the site up. And now it's a vacant lot and it's listed for sale. So the purpose of this application is, while it's for sale until there's a higher, better use it for trailer storage, which is in that industrial area, is conducive to that area. And we complied with the city in that we had a landscaping design for trees around the outside and shrubbery, screening on the fencing area. The lot's entirely fenced. There was originally, when this application started, a single-story building that was adjoining the 5-story building, which is on Colerain Avenue. That has since been demolished and cleaned up. The site's gravelled in. In our proposal, we have, as required by the city, paved entrance and exit off of Marshall Avenue and then onto Spring Grove Avenue to accommodate the movement of trailers in and out of there that are more than likely going to be involved in something with the railroad or the expressway there is close by. We have in this plan, it allows for 85 storage, the maximum storage of 85 trailers. And as I said, it's been the outside will be screened. The entire lot's fenced. I've talked to the adjoining property owner, Queen City Sausage, who Elmer Hensler, who is not opposed to it and in favor of it, and also Tom Ham, the owner of the adjoining building on the other side, who's not opposed to it. So if there's questions or other observations, you have the submitted application with the architectural drawing and the layout of the storage trailers and the landscaping, which is required by the city, and we've followed their recommendations all the way through. So the thought is, until we have a sale, until we can sell it, or somebody's going to put some structure on it, we'd like to use it for temporary storage of trailers.
Okay. And could you tell me a little bit more about the storage of the trailers? We're talking about storing the trailers on the back of semi trucks.
Yeah, they would be placed in there by a semi trailer, dropped off, and then the motor portion leaves, and the trailer would be there. They would jockey them in and out as they were used in transit from the railroad or from the highway.
Got it. Okay. And what is the capacity or the
Maximum,
capacity?
maximum's 85, and that's on that submitted plan that you have.
Got it. And in a practical sense, are we gonna, will this be semi tractor trailers every day dropping off and picking up throughout the day, or is that just hard to say how much activity we're gonna
Yeah,
see
it's
there?
hard to say. They, as they drop one and need one, the lot's fenced, the lot will be locked and fenced as it is now during the day. And, it's not going to be my envision is not going to be a constant movement of trucks and trailers, but as it's mostly for empty trailers that are waiting to be picked up and used. There won't be any daily movement is my guess.
Got it. Okay. And could you tell me a little bit more about the proposed screening?
The screening we submitted to the zoning plans examiner, it's a green mesh screening that'll go all the way around the outside. There's a picture of it in the submitted screen material. It's opaque and it meets the zoning standards. There's no writing on it or no advertisement on it. It's just green mesh chain link fence.
I'll share my screen here just so everyone can see this.
Yeah,
Is this the type of screening you're proposing?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Is it going to be this level of transparency? I don't know if I would call this opaque.
Well, that was
Maybe,
taken in, that was taken in bright sunlight. You can't,
Yeah.
we can get it as dark as you require it to be, but that was an example of what's required. That's what we're going to do.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit more about how this screening is going to mitigate any adverse impacts for surrounding businesses and particularly residential buildings?
There's two things. That the paving of the entrance and the exit will eliminate dust, and then this screening would, will make it opaque enough to where you can't see in there from the street, and it'd be like around a construction site. And it is, as I mentioned earlier, it's all temporary. Hopefully, we are in talks now with people who are interested in locating on that site. We're just trying to get some useful purpose out of it while it's sitting there.
Sure. Okay. I thought that I read somewhere in the materials, or maybe it was in the staff report, that there was a proposal for additional vegetation or trees
Yes,
as a part of the screening.
Yes, and there's vegetation around the outside, and that's depicted in the submission. Also, there's canopy trees that are on the plan. If you have that, a copy of that plan from Matt Lashade, and the canopy trees are specified, and we had a landscape architect who did the drawing. The trees are on the Coleraine Avenue, or on the Marshall Avenue side. And there are some trees now on the Coleraine Avenue side. They exist now.
Got it. Okay.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees. 2, 4, 6, 7 trees along the Marshall Avenue side, canopy trees that were spec'd by the zoning department.
Got it. Okay. And the fence you said was 6 feet?
Yeah, the fence is existing. It's there now.
Okay. With the screen, with the proposed
The
screen.
screen's not up yet. No.
Okay,
Once
got it.
once we get approval we'll move forward with the screening.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Mr. Donovan. That's all the questions I have right now. I think I will turn it over to just going off my screen here to the public and Miss Craigie. Craigie, is that right? Okay.
Yep. So my name's Sydney Prigge. As I mentioned, I'm the executive director for Camp Washington's Urban Revitalization Corporation, which is the CDC in the neighborhood. We are going through some big strengths and big efforts to really start improving the environmental and neighborhood impact in our business district. This property sits right south of our business district. We are currently undergoing we just did a zoning diagnostic study, and we just got the Congress for New Urbanism to help us really create a vision plan for the neighborhood. And I just met with Councilmember Owens to try to mitigate some of the tow yards and storage and parking facilities in our neighborhood. It's a huge impact. And with the Connected Communities initiatives going through, we believe that this would be the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish with the Connected Communities initiatives. As I stated in my letter, this lot is located 1 block south of the urban mixed zone business district, could be a potential site of a large mixed-use development, increased residential capacity in the neighborhood and the city. It resides in the neighborhood entertainment district and in the TIF boundary. It is a site that could provide incredible tax opportunities for the city and the neighborhood through industrial development or residential development. Approving the zoning relief, it's losing out on the opportunity to increase development opportunities and in turn losing a lot of funds for the neighborhood and for the city as a whole. I have some questions immediately regarding the proposal that was presented. Is there any lighting going to be installed? So we have a big issue with break-ins, a big security issue, environmental issues with already the lowest tree canopy in the neighborhood. Adding more parking and storage, it's adding more emissions, kind of going against that initiative of environmental safety in our neighborhood and improving that. It's the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. Is there any cameras because of the security issues? Lighting, cameras, the green fence, it's not the most attractive thing for our business district and right around our neighborhood. So what is the security measures being taken place? What is the time frame of the zoning relief? I know it was stated that this is a temporary fix. They're trying to sell the space. It's currently listed at a very high rate. It's not reasonably priced for people to explore that. So what is the timeline on this relief? Was a question that was presented by the neighborhood. And what is like the neighborhood engagement on the zoning relief? Those were the questions that were presented to me. Thanks.
Okay. Well, let me try to answer one of those. Whenever zoning relief is granted, it runs with the land, regardless of the owner, and so it is more or less permanent relief, or will allow for the use to be permanent. There may be some way to put a backstop timing wise in my decision, but I would need to do some more research on that particular aspect with this application to see if that would be enforceable. Your other questions were what was the engagement, and I'm sorry, what were the other two? I just wanted to hear those again from Mr. Donovan.
Absolutely. So my questions were, what were the neighborhood engagement levels? The first time I heard about this was when I got the paper in the mail. And I sit on the business association, run the CDC, and I also sit on the community council. The other thing is we have a big issue with break-ins because of the influx of parking and tow yards in our neighborhood. We already have the city's tow yard in our neighborhood. There's 18 sites of tow in our neighborhood, 15 outside of this proposed site. So adding this is just going to increase litter, crime, and a lot of residents are leaving and businesses are leaving because space is being taken up by tow yards, causes crime. So I'm curious on what the lighting is, what the security measures are, and are you installing cameras?
Sure. So Mr. Donovan, I'll go ahead and re-ask those. So there's, I think one question is what efforts were made to engage with the community about this project prior to the hearing? And another is what security measures are going to be taken to including lighting and other security features to make sure that this does not attract or promote existing crime.
My engagement with the community was I talked to the adjacent property owners, Queen City Sausage and Prodcast, Tom Hammond, Prodcast Metals, feeling they were going to be impacted by it. And it's, as I said, it's temporary and it's the objective of the owner to sell the property, and that, you know, he has a significant investment in that property and the cleanup process. So cleanup probably took a year and a half. It was all monitored through the state. That had been a foundry for 100 years. So there were some significant environmental issues with that piece of property. He's cleaned it up. It's got a total bill of health, clean bill of health from the state of Ohio and the city of Cincinnati. It was all monitored. And then the idea of a tow yard, it's not a tow yard. The city has a tow yard, which is down the street on the other side of the street. It's had it there for many years. The impound lot, which is a different type facility. This is a like a piggyback transient for trailers that are being jockeyed off of the railroad back and forth from the railroad to the expressway. It's not a lot where cars are going to be held for a period of time. These are 40-foot trailers that will be in and out as they're used. The lighting, there is lighting existing on the side of Queen City Sausage Building that lights the one side of the lot. We have not planned any cameras. I'll certainly talk to the ownership about security and cameras, and that it's one of the reasons that we keep that lot fence locked and to keep people out of it. It's a significant investment. It's almost 4 acres of industrial property that's located close to the city, close to the expressway, close to the railroad. It has great value. And the cost to mitigate the environmental issue there was millions in cleaning that site up. So as far as the price goes, the real estate price, that's based on the investment the owner made in the cleanup process. And I am in a process, we are in the process of talking to several possible purchasers of the property at that price. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But the security part of it, if cameras are necessary, if you have cameras, you have to have somebody that monitors the cameras. We'll certainly look into that if that's a recommendation to the city. What we've done is we followed the recommendations of the zoning department and the building department in the demolition of the one-story existing building, cleaning that up, and then cleaning up the rest of the site. What was there before was a abandoned foundry and 2 or 3 other abandoned buildings that the owner has had a significant investment cleaned up and has ready for the next best user. It's not our idea, and it's not an economic advantage to operate a trailer storage lot on a piece of property that can be developed for its highest and best use, which is not a trailer storage lot. That's why we've asked for this temporary until we can get the property repositioned. So hopefully hopefully I've answered that. Nobody cares more about the city or that area than I do. I've been involved in that area for a long time. I probably should have, in retrospect, gone to the community council or that. I used to be know the head of the community council, and I don't know anymore. I should have gone down and talked to them and let them know. I went to the adjoining property owners on either side.
Okay. Ms. Priggy, did you have any other comments or questions before I move on?
Yeah, I guess the thing I have is you stated that it's not potential, it can't be a temporary, yet we keep talking about a temporary. So this zoning relief would be a permanent change with the property, correct?
Yes, typically when
There's-
zoning relief, whether conditional use or variance or special exception is granted, it runs with the property in perpetuity.
Okay, yeah, because is there any way to put conditions on that, a timeline, anything like that?
I would want to be absolutely certain before I answered that question one way or the other. Would that make a difference to you?
We're really, it would change the complete opposition, because we're talking about them doing temporary storage of these until the lot sells. Sell the lot, this still can happen. So someone's gonna come in and do the same exact thing. It's not promoting any sort of best use. So I think if there's any way, I don't know what it looks like, I don't know anything like that. As I said, we're looking at zoning diagnostic. I'm working with the city to figure out what zoning in camp looks like in the future. And so I guess my thing is, if this goes through, would there be a way to eliminate it for future sales, or what does that look like? I guess we're just not sure what that looks like.
Sure. Is there any other comments or questions that you outside of that you wanted to say?
No, I believe everything is noted in my letter.
Okay, great. So looks like Mr. Donovan, you wanted to respond to that. You can go ahead. You're muted now.
Just briefly, as the young lady indicated, the price is very high. I don't economically, I don't think there's anybody going to purchase that piece of property for trailer storage. It would be for some kind of industrial building, and that's the talks we're involved with right now, is somebody to build an industrial facility there, a building there. Economically, it wouldn't make sense to purchase that property at anywhere near that number and do trailer storage on it. That's my only comment. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Donovan, I heard you say just a moment ago that you wish you had engaged with the community council a little bit more. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing at this time? It is possible for me to sort of table this temporarily for you to have those conversations with folks from the community council. I'm just offering it. It's completely up to you. But since you mentioned that, this is something that I could set out for a week or two or more for you to have those conversations and come back here with more perspective from the community.
I'm amenable to that. I have no problem with that. What we're trying, my objective is to market that piece of property to somebody that's going to take it to the next level. And what's happened there now, I originally handled that property for Fifth Third Bank when it was in receivership, and found the owner, the guy that bought it, the entity that bought it, when nobody would go near that piece of property. Conway Clutch was on one part of it, which the city condemned and had torn down. and the rest of it was Pride Cast Metals, which was as I mentioned earlier, was a foundry. I found somebody who could purchase that piece of property and then had the infrastructure to be able to go in and do the environmental. Nobody would get near it because of the unknown environmental issues that went with it. And even after it was purchased and the demolition started, there were tanks that were found. There were things that were nobody alive knew what was there, and all that was accomplished. It took a long time and a lot of money, but all that was accomplished, and it's a build ready, clean site. The present owner maintains a water line on that site, cost him $1,000 a month to keep that water service there, and there's sewer there, so that the next purchaser, it's shovel ready to go, and that's the way we're marketing it. And the objective is to put something there that's going to be a jewel on the corner of Colerain and Marshall. The 5-story building that's there is owned by an individual who's renting out parts of it, and that's also going through some change. He's got a mattress supplier in there. He's got a picture frame. Small businesses located in that 5-story building that are operating in that area. So do I have any problem with talking to the community council? No, I don't. I mean, what I'm going to present is exactly what we want to do. It's what you would do with a commercial piece of property that's located in an industrial area close to the city. So yeah, I'm amenable to that, certainly.
Okay. Well, I have found that in the past, sometimes those conversations can be fruitful and can lead to, a little bit more intentionality. Let me ask, because I believe Miss Preggy said she was representing the community council as well as CWURC on this. Is there any upcoming forum in which you believe the community council would be willing to hear Mr. Donovan's plans for the site?
The next community council meeting wouldn't be until May 13th. What I can suggest is meeting with the community council president and connecting you with that.
That's fine.
Is there any reason you can think of that he would not be able to meet with the community council president and meet with the community council body or present in front of the community council body on the 13th? By the 13th.
Meet with them. Their executive board meets on May 8th. And then the full council is on the 13th.
Okay. Mr. Donovan, would you be amenable to that?
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
That could put us back here on May 15th, 2 days after that, which is approximately 4 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I think Spencer has a question, but there's I guess there's 3 things I think that the council, I can talk to Sean about this separately if needed.
Yeah. Do you all have each other's contact information?
I do not know.
Okay. Well, I think that I have everyone's contact information. So after this meeting is over, I'll connect everybody via email, so that you all can make sure that you set up or verify that time and lock in that time. I will automatically just table this hearing, so you won't have to do anything. You'll get an updated Zoom invite for May 15th with a new time. And we'll just come back here and continue this conversation after Mr. Donovan has had a chance to do some more engagement with the community. And I would like to let Mr. Deutsch here, if he has a question, weigh in.
Yes, I was as part of the business association board, I feel like we should also be involved in the conversation and meeting with him as the business. There's many businesses around him. I'm down the street from him. We would all love to hear what his plans are.
Sure.
So I feel like not just the community council, but the business association.
Yeah. I think that sounds reasonable. Again, of course, Mr. Donovan, it's up to you, who all you'd like to meet with. You know, I don't know if it's possible for the business association to come to the community council meeting. That seems like it'd be the most practical way. But again, I'll connect all of you. I don't want to try to tell you exactly how you should be talking to each other, engaging. That's really up to you all. But I wanted to make sure that you had that opportunity. And so hopefully this allows for that. But I'll connect you all via email. We'll come back here on the 15th. Mr. Donovan, I know that this is a delay from what you're expecting timeline wise, and so I can promise you that I will put this to the top of my queue in terms of issuing a decision when you do come back on the 15th, so that is expedited as quickly as possible. Mr. Deutsch.
Until that point, are they allowed to use this as a parking lot?
No,
because there are vehicles currently on it.
So right now they are subject to the existing standards of the zoning code. There's until an exception is officially granted and a written decision is issued, they are subject to those standards.
Because I have photos of it. There are currently tractor trailers on it. I saw somebody actually doing mechanical work on it the other day. So I don't know what we do for that.
Yeah, so the zoning department and Mr. Lascheid are a vehicle for zoning enforcement. So if you believe that there is some zoning nonconformity or some improper use, Mr. Lascheid can tell you about enforcement actions on that.
Yeah, we can put you in touch with code enforcement. Let me check something real quick here. So outdoor storage is only permitted with conditional use approval. So property cannot be used as outdoor storage until this is approved. If that is happening right now and you want to send me an email, I can put you in touch with our code enforcement team that can have someone come out and take a look at the property. But yeah, it cannot be used for outdoor storage until conditional use is approved, if approved.
All right.
Okay. All right, great. We'll look for an email from me. I want to thank everyone for their time and their testimony. Mr. Donovan, your willingness to engage with the community a bit more on this. I will send out an email connecting everyone, and then you'll see an email shortly for the 15th for the rescheduling of the hearing. Any questions about any of this right now?
No, I appreciate your time, and Mr. Donovan, I appreciate you willing to work with the community on this and meet with them. I think we can all come to a place of agreement. I think the one question I have, just because the community is going to ask me for a response, if you could send in the email a little bit about what it is, the potential of the relief being eliminated with the sale of the property or lifted, the conditional use, that would be great, just because I know the community is going to have questions considering that.
Sure. This will give me an opportunity to do some research and have a better answer on what guardrails we can put in terms of timing on the relief, if any. And when I have a better understanding of that, I'll be sure to update the entire group.
And
Great.
Mr. Strick, I think it may be beneficial if I have an opportunity just to talk about some of the zoning considerations that we've already gone through with Mr. Donovan.
Sure.
So the property zoned manufacturing general, which is an intense industrial zoning district. Outdoor storage requires conditional use approval in that district, and a lot of what we look at when we're reviewing conditional use approval is minimizing negative impacts towards nearby properties. So my recommendations, these aren't like strict code requirements, but my recommendation for our staff to be able to recommend approval was that there be screening around the property so that it wouldn't be visible from the right of way. I noticed that there's more of a business, has been noted earlier, the business district and some more residential properties are to the northeast. So I recommended that there be additional landscaping here to improve the appearance of this property from those properties. And lastly, there's concern with any gravel. I mean, you're not allowed to park on gravel typically in the city of Cincinnati at all. I understand that there would be immense expense in paving this entire property. So staff's recommendation was to pave the drive aisles so that if the vehicles are moving in and out of the property, they're not going to be bringing gravel with them. There's a concern that gravel would come into the public street, go into storm drains and things like that. So our recommendation was to pave the drive aisles that lead into the right of way to mitigate that impact. Those are recommendations which have been met by Mr. Donovan in this plan, but they're not necessarily final. And I would say that, there's opportunity for Mr. Sturkey and for the community council to request additional screening or to see if those, impacts can be modified or improved in some way.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. If anyone has any questions in the meantime about just strictly about process or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. I think anything more substantive, maybe you should reach out to the zoning department. Since we're in progress, I can't really have any what are called ex parte communications, one-on-one communications with anyone who's participating in this hearing about the substance of the hearing. All of that needs to be done in a public forum like this. And so, again, process questions, happy to answer those. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful day. Again, appreciate your time and your testimony, and we'll see you.